Hello my friends and welcome once again to this Red Gamer Tech video with myself, Marta. I hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. I am here as always with the latest news from the tech world from the last 24 or so hours as of the 16th of August. We've got quite a bit to get stuck into today, so I'm just going to get stuck right in with an update regarding Nvidia and ARM. Now, for those of you that missed my coverage of this, or to be fair, any of the coverage that's been doing the rounds lately, there were reports earlier this month that Nvidia were attempting to purchase ARM. SoftBank representatives, who of course are the company that own ARM, apparently approached Nvidia, TSMC, Foxconn, Apple, Qualcomm and Samsung to see if they were interested in acquiring ARM. Now we actually have a bit of an update to this, thanks to a new report exclusively done for the Evening Standard. Now, of course, you will find their article linked in the description below this video. Now, according to their report, Nvidia is now entering final talks for acquiring ARM, and we will see a potential deal emerging before the end of the current summer season if their information is correct. And further to their information, the CEO of SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, is apparently demanding a price of £40 billion or $52 billion for ARM. Now obviously there can be a million and one things that go wrong or get in the way of Nvidia or any of the other companies, to be fair, purchasing ARM, but Nvidia especially. Because obviously there are several existing companies, that already use ARM technology and will probably want assurances that they will still get equal access to ARM's tech, or may even try to block the acquisition, because don't forget, ARM is in a million and one things, some of which are competing with Nvidia's technology. So obviously those existing customers are going to want to know, okay, are you going to bend us over here, basically. Now, obviously, we may see roadblocks come from other places, such as the British government, because one of the things that happened in the 2016 deal with SoftBank was that ARM provided a commitment to keep its headquarters here in the UK. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how true this ends up being, but safe to say, if Nvidia did indeed end up acquiring ARM, it would be a huge move for the industry and would have a ripple effect, given how pervasive ARM's technology actually is. But we're going to move on to our next topic now, which is actually regarding the prices for memory and SSDs. So there was a report on digitimes.com about the low prices for memory and SSDs, thanks to some comments made by the CEO of Apacer, and they said to Digitimes that they expect both DRAM and NAND, so SSD and flash storage prices, to remain low at least through the first half of 2021. And the article reads, quote, "The DRAM and NAND flash markets are expected to see oversupply last into the first half 2021, but in some other markets, strong demand has fueled sales growth for many companies, such as notebook ODMs, whose production is badly needed to support stay-at-home needs, but notebook ODM's production has been undermined by component shortages. Tight capacity at 8-inch wafer fabs has been blamed for shortages for some IC parts needed for notebook production. DRAM, NAND flash and oversupply. The DRAM and NAND flash markets will be oversupplied until the first half of 2021. And again, that is according to the CEO of Apacer Technology, who are a memory module maker, for those of you unfamiliar. So obviously we'll have to wait and see how true this is, but obviously we have seen low prices for memory and SSDs for quite some time now, but I do feel that some relief was definitely needed. I'm sure you guys don't need to be reminded of a little while ago when the prices for RAM and memory in general, SSDs, whatever, were just insane. But the prices for RAM especially were just kind of crazy. So it was nice to get a little bit of relief in that regard. We may see a price hike in the future. So let's move on to a couple of PlayStation pieces of news, the first of which is regarding PlayStation VR. So this time around we have the folks over at uploadvr.com to thank for this particular piece of news, as they have discovered a job listing from Sony Corp in Japan, which confirms that the company is working on some sort of, quote, next generation VR head-mounted display. Now, the listing, which is Google translated, so obviously do keep that in mind, says, quote, "We are developing a next-generation VR head-mounted display and it further states that they're looking for a team of around 15 people that will be, quote, in charge of mechanical design of the lens barrel supporting the optical system, small and lightweight housing, heat radiation design, development of jig for optical system evaluation, etc. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind with this. It's not necessarily a confirmation of PlayStation VR 2. Because let's take a deeper look at the job listing. It is for Sony Corporation rather than Sony Interactive Entertainment, which of course is the part that houses PlayStation. And also the job listings, should I say, does state that they are looking to develop a mechanism for a headset, quote, with a view to 5 years from now. Now, again, this is Google translated and it's not super clear. So, obviously, everything should be taken here with a pinch of salt, TM, as always, until it comes from the mouth of the company. There's a couple of potentialities here. It could be a PlayStation VR 2, or it could be even the generation beyond that, or it could even be a standalone headset for the PC market. Of course, there's also the potential that it could be for the mobile market as well, something similar to, say, the Samsung headset, but I would say that's less likely, but obviously I'm just speculating. I'm not basing that off of any inside information. I am just making an educated guess at best. Personally, I think it's fairly likely that we will see some sort of VR headset for the PlayStation 5. The PSVR headset for the PS4 did insanely well in terms of raw sales, at least in comparison to the other virtual reality headsets on the market. As of an article written on January the 6th, 2020, there were 5 million PlayStation VR units sold. So I think Sony would be eager to perhaps keep that ball rolling, get the cost down, get more games on there, all that sort of thing. Because as I've said 1,000,001 times, the main barriers to entry for VR is the very high cost of the headset. Plus, if it's for PC, you've got to have the hardware to back it up. And obviously, there's just not that many flagship killer games to actually convince someone to part with, like, say, £300-400 or whatever for a PSVR 2 or what have you, when they've already shelled out for the console itself. But that's not the only PlayStation news I have for you today. There's also speculation that we will see a new state of play soon. And yes, soon, TM. And this is thanks to a tweet from Iron Man PS5. And he says, quote, "Remember this message. See you Thursday. Hashtag Stark Week. Hashtag PS5. Hashtag State of Play." And then hashtag Iron Man State of Play. So, obviously, the information here is basically non-existent, but he is hinting that we will be seeing some sort of state of play this Thursday. So that would be Thursday the 20th of August as of the time of recording. Hopefully it will be a PS5 focused event. Maybe it'll even be the long-rumoured teardown, which of course we were the first to report, at least according to our sources. We'll be seeing a teardown later on this month. But we're going to leave Sony in our dust for now and move on to the Xbox Series X. So what we have is a couple of leaks regarding a potential price tag for the console. Now, the first one was from the creator Alana Pierce, and apparently someone sent her a photo from a retail store PC which showed an Xbox Series X price of $599 US. And then to seemingly kinda sorta confirm this, there was another leak alongside this thanks to a Halo Infinite and Monster energy drink promotion. Now, the promo doesn't even begin until September the 1st, but details of it have already found their way onto the internets, and the promo basically is them giving away some prizes, which include a copy of Halo and an Xbox Series X console. Now, Monster have said for their promo that the total ARV of the prize pool is almost $120,000, $119,998 to be specific. Now, according to the calculations of comicbook.com, we will see a price via their quick maths of $599 US. Now, let's talk about what I think about this $599 price for the Xbox Series X. Now, to be honest, I'm skeptical of this price. It could very well be a placeholder. All reports are indicating that Microsoft are trying their hardest to undercut Sony, and I just don't think the prices are actually set in stone yet. Prices are set pretty much last minute. The PS4 was the case. Sony set the price really late, and apparently the RTX 20 series of prices for that series of cards were decided pretty much on the day of the show. Now, with all that said, it's very, very possible that these are true and that this is just the lowest that Microsoft could go given the specs of the machine, or it could be the upper limit of what they're considering. Maybe $600 is the most expensive that they feel they can go in terms of whether or not people will actually buy it, all that sort of stuff. But if it is true, it obviously raises several interesting questions. The first of which is, how will Sony compete with this? Will we see them deliberately undercut this price just to, well, undercut that price? And it also makes you wonder what the price for Lockhart or the Xbox Series S is actually going to be. Perhaps we will see that come in around $500. Obviously, I'm just speculating. So, a bit of a fun bonus topic for you guys. This is Amy from the future speaking, woo, etc. As we have a very first public benchmark for the RTX 3080 Ampere graphics card, and this is thanks to Rogame over on Twitter, and it is a user benchmark results, and we're going to go through the results a little bit here, but I'm not going to focus too much on them because, to be honest, the results, as you can see as I'm scrolling down, they're a little low, I guess is all I'm trying to say. But I don't think we should read too much into this, to be honest. There is literally an infinite amount of reasons that it could be the case. You know, it literally could be early drivers, any number of issues. Perhaps this is an earlier version of the card or anything. You know, give literal laundry list of reasons why the score is low as it is. What I really want to focus on here is the specifications that we do see revealed to us thanks to this particular benchmark. So we can see 2100 megahertz for the core clock, 4750 megahertz for the memory clock, 10 gigabytes of VRAM, and obviously you can see the device ID of 10DE2206. So let's talk about those specifications a little bit, shall we? So the clock's frequency seems to be about what we would expect it for this particular card, and it also confirms that the card does indeed have 10 gigabytes of RAM, and it also confirms that it runs at 19 Gbps for the 3080. So again, this seems to be about what we expect. So it's not a huge leap over Turing, but a small step. But again, this depends if the speed is the final clocks of the card and whether or not this is even what we see with the final reference designs. We have no way of knowing how old this card is, or was I should say, when it was actually tested. For all we know, we're going to be seeing a higher clock speed for the final variant, but while we should always take it with the usual expected pinch of salt TM, this does confirm for us several details that we've seen in previous leaks about the RTX 3080, but obviously Nvidia's upcoming event in September is only a couple of weeks away, so we don't have to wait all that long to see how true these specs and of course the performance results end up being. I think after the recent leaks we had about the RTX 3090, all eyes are going to be on Nvidia, and obviously we all would have been watching keenly to see what they had to say anyway, but I think we're doubly curious now to see exactly what the pricing is going to be, the final specifications, and obviously the all-critical response from AMD. Given what we have recently learned about the RTX 3090, there's definitely some concern for what RDNA 2 is going to be competing against, but obviously we don't even have the official reveal for RDNA 2. So let's just say that I think this next reveal from Nvidia is going to be really, really interesting and is definitely going to give us a decent picture of the sort of market response to both series of graphics cards from Nvidia and AMD that we will see. I think we are definitely going to see expensive cards from Nvidia, you know, with the specs that we've seen. They're not going to cost 5p, you're not going to be able to get them in a bag of penny sweets, you know, and they still have change from a fiver. That's obviously not going to happen. But I do hope that Nvidia have learned from the backlash after Turing. As obviously good as those cards were, they were very expensive at launch, and that was kind of sort of addressed with Super. But I do think they need to keep that in mind this time around. But obviously whether or not they can or have decided to do that, I don't know. I don't work at Nvidia last time I checked. Anyway, with all that said, however, let's move on to our final topic for today, which is a very interesting report from DFC Intelligence. So basically what we saw was the latest report from the company, and they are an industry market research firm if you're unfamiliar with them, and they released their latest global video gamer segmentation report this Friday, and it shows some pretty interesting facts, and of course you can find the full report linked in the description below this video. Now, the most interesting fact from this is that gaming now counts over 3 billion players globally, and unsurprisingly, mobile gaming is by far the biggest market. Sorry, not the biggest one, the fastest growing one, excuse me, with nearly half of those 3 billion players using only smartphones to play. Now, obviously, we do see a breakdown by region, and you can see just how large the mobile-only gaming market is in Asia, but it's still pretty significant in Europe and Latin America and so on. You can see for yourself the little pie chart that they've created. Unsurprisingly, we're also seeing a huge population of gamers in China, especially when it comes to PC gaming. We see over 300 million users in China, followed by India at 150 million, and Russia's not far behind them, and then the US not far behind them. Now, when it comes to console gaming, apparently only roughly 3% of the global population and 8% of the gamer population are console gamers. However, this particular group has the highest per user spending. But to go back to PC gaming for a minute, apparently there are an estimated 1.5 billion PC game consumers. And unsurprisingly, there is some crossover shown here in the study that some of these gamers, of course, also own console systems or game on their mobile devices. I think some people are just PC gamers and some people are just console gamers, and I think a lot of people are also kind of mixed. I'm a mix. I'm primarily PC, but I've got a PS4, I've got a Switch, I've even got an Xbox One sitting over there. And obviously we'll be buying an next-gen console when I'm actually able to. So, some interesting stuff. As I said, the full report is linked below. Go give it a gander if you so desire. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the support is highly appreciated. Do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It does help out a great deal, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.